Hi and welcome. My name is Leslie Gleaves. I'm a museum educator and artist and a guest teacher this year with Art Grows Rexburg. Thanks for being here with me today. We have a fun project in store. We are going to be making wire contour sculptures. We are going to be learning about contour line drawing and how artists use that skill to strengthen their drawing technique. We will then practice contour line drawing with a pencil and paper and use one of our drawings to create a wire sculpture. The project materials that we will need today, you will have received in your kit. It should include some 22 gauge wire, wire cutters, a piece of transparency paper, and a dry erase marker. You will also need a piece of paper, a pen or pencil, some masking tape, and a damp sponge or a wet paper towel. So what is a contour line drawing? Contour line drawing is a method of drawing where you draw only the outline of an object without any shading. It comes from the French word for contour, which means outline. When you do a contour line drawing, you're focusing on the shape of an object and not on the details. There are a few different types of contour line drawing. Each of them allows you to show the object in a different way. Today we will be focusing on continuous line drawing. So why use contour line drawing? It is the basic fundamental of drawing. It has many uses for all types of artists, from beginning to highly experienced. Many artists will begin a project with a contour line drawing to get a quick sense of the piece's composition, then they'll later go back and add more details. It's also a good way to become more skilled at replicating the outline of an object and developing hand-eye coordination. Pablo Picasso was a Spanish-born artist that is world-renowned as the most influential artist of the 20th century. During his lifetime, he created more than 20,000 artworks in many different styles and mediums. He co-founded the Cubist movement and is also credited with co-founding collage art and inventing constructed sculpture. Picasso used contour line drawing quite often. Here we see a few of Picasso's continuous line drawings. You'll notice that if you start at one point of each of these representations of animals and follow that line all the way around, it'll create the entire animal without having to lift your pen or pencil off the paper. This is an example of a continuous line. These were quick sketches so that he could get the shape of the figure and the object. Then he would go back and add color or details. Another artist who uses this continuous style of contour line drawing is Miriam Tribe. Miriam is a contemporary artist working today. She uses contour line drawings in her final pieces rather than just as a starting sketch. You'll notice the drawing on the left was made with one continuous line. The image on the right is a wire sculpture that she has created from one of her contour line drawings. This is similar to the project we will be making today. Okay, now that we have looked at some examples of contour line drawing, let's go ahead and practice on our own. So I have some supplies here with me. I have a paper, a pencil, and a pen. I also have my transparency paper and my dry erase marker. Yours might look a little bit smaller or bigger than mine. Any dry erase marker will work. I also have some wet paper towels, masking tape, and a couple of objects that we can use to practice with. I'm going to be using a pen today so that you can see better. And also, if you do have a pencil, you might consider taking the eraser off so that you're not tempted to use it. So I have today a mug that I have in my cupboard. And I'm just gonna place it off to the side right here, kind of use it as an example to look at while I draw on this side. So you can use the same object that I'm using, or you can find something else of your own. And you can be as detailed or as simplified as you want when you're practicing contour line drawing. You'll notice this mug has some detail on it, some decorations on the outside. You can choose to include that, or you can just do a simple outline first and then try another line drawing, including the decorations, and kind of build up. So I'm just gonna start to the side, and starting as soon as I put my pen down, I'm not gonna lift it up again until we're done with the drawing. So I'm just gonna use the mug to the left as reference and look at it while I'm drawing. And it's not gonna be perfect. You guys know that's not the point of this. This is just to kind of get the shape of what is going on. And there's lots of different ways you can do this. You don't have to start where I started. You can start anywhere. And now I'm gonna lift it up. So there's a quick line drawing of this mug. And this is something that's really fun to practice over and over. So now I'm gonna change, and I found this shell, and I'm just gonna put it up top right here. I'm gonna use the space on this side to kind of draw what I see over here. You can kind of arrange things how it works better for you. I think I'm gonna start this drawing in the middle. So once again, I've placed my pen down. I'm not gonna move it or pick it up off the paper until I'm done with my drawing. And you can include as many lines and details as you want, or you can just practice with the outline of the shape. Okay, I'm gonna lift mine up. You can see this is a little bit more of an outline of the shape. And this is a really fun one to practice on because there are so many details and you can change it every time. So that was some great practicing. Now I like this shell. I like the different stripes and the different curves of it. So I think I will use this as inspiration for my sculpture. This is a great start, but I'm gonna practice a little bit more. And I'm gonna make it just a little bit bigger. Okay, now that I have my drawing, I'm ready to create my wire sculpture. So what I'm gonna do is take my transparency paper and I'm gonna place it over top of my paper. If you don't have paper and pencil, you could just practice your contour line drawing right onto your transparency paper and erase it and keep practicing on here. But for now, we're gonna use this and put it over top of our drawing, and we're gonna use our masking tape to tape it down for just a minute. Just tape down those corners. And then we're gonna get our dry erase marker. If yours is smaller, that's probably easier than this big one. But we're gonna trace our contour line drawing using our dry erase marker onto the transparency paper. Okay, you'll notice I did it even a little bit different way of a contour line drawing that time than when I drew it the first time. It's just another way of practicing. Okay, now that I have this, we're gonna need to flip it over. So I'm gonna take the tape off the corners for a minute. And the reason why we need to flip it over is because if we tried to put our wire right on top, we'd erase the dry erase marker. So I'm just gonna flip this over to a blank side, and I'm gonna flip this over so that it's not gonna be able to be rubbed off. And then put the tape back on my corners. And then I'm going to break off a few pieces of tape and just stick them on the side of my transparency paper right now. This is just to make it so it's a little bit easier to grab as I'm creating my wire sculpture. So I'm not sure how much I'll need, but I'm just gonna put a lot out here at one time. And if you don't use it all, that's totally fine. Okay, so we'll start with that. Okay, I'm gonna grab my wire and my wire cutters. And I cut off about 4 feet, 3 or 4 feet of wire in its own length. Ideally, you want to try to cut off enough that you'll be able to make your whole sculpture out of it without adding more onto it. But if you guessed wrong and you're a little bit short, you can always cut some more wire off and then twist the ends together so that it extends the length of it. So we'll see how we do with this one. We're going to go ahead and start following our contour line drawing. Now you'll notice that, or you'll remember that the contour line drawing I did with the pen was different from the contour line drawing that I did with the marker. And now I'm gonna do it with wire, and it probably will be different again, which is okay. It's all just a great way of practicing. So we're on our transparency paper, it's turned over so that we don't rub off the marker drawing that we made. And we're going to start following those lines with our wire to create our sculpture. So you're just gonna pick a spot again to follow. I might start in the middle this time. I'm gonna leave a little bit extra right here and off of the line drawing, and you'll kind of see why in just a minute. But you're just gonna follow the line drawing that you made. And I'm gonna do this line here and then turn around and come back this way. And you're just gonna kind of bend it as you go. Now this is fun to do if you've done a contour line of someone's face. It's really fun. If you have a vase of flowers, there's lots of different ways that you can do it. So now I'm going to actually come in and kind of twist those parts that overlap. Because we don't have thicker wire, we're gonna need to kind of create a little bit more stability. Okay. So there's that. Now I'm gonna use one of the pieces of tape to kind of hold this edge down as I move along the drawing. And I'm using all of my fingers, both hands, to kind of get this wire to go where you want it to. And if it's still kind of moving around on you until you get back to this spot, just use as much tape as you need to kind of hold things in place. Once again, since these kind of overlap each other, I'm just gonna come in and twist them a little bit. And if you twist it the wrong way, you can just go back and twist it the other way. You can even wrap it around if you need to. And I'm coming back to this side. So I'm gonna move that tape. I'm actually gonna put the end of my wire through that side. Just kind of pull that through. And just continue following that. And then I'm going to put the end of the wire through this part too. And you just kind of have to work with it. The side touches, so we're gonna bring the end through that part as well. And I'm gonna have a lot left over, but that's gonna be just fine. I'll show you what to do with that. And one more time up through here. Just gonna get all those ends together. And then we'll come up this last side and kind of tie it off with the very first part. So let me remove this tape. And we're gonna stick this through. This last end and use the part of the wire that we started with to kind of tie that off. Okay, so now we've reached the last line of our shell. Just gonna make sure this stays. And we're gonna take off the tape. sculpture, which is kind of hard to see right here. But I'm going to use the end of it and kind of create a base so that it stands up. And I'm just going to kind of lay it flat and then bend it up. And then kind of wrap the rest around, just kind of in a bigger circle. If you have like a rock that you can wrap the wire around, or a piece of wood, or something that's kind of a base, you can use that to wrap around, and then you have your wire that can stand up. And there we have it, our wire sculpture from our contour line drawing. Thank you for being here with me today and doing this project. I had a lot of fun with you, learning about and practicing contour line drawing and making our wire sculptures. I encourage you to continue practicing your contour line drawing and to research artists who use this technique. Have fun!